terms, including some of them, including withdrawing troops from Strait of Hormuz and, of course, surrounding areas. We're discussing this big story tonight on India Tonight, and we're joined in by Dr. Ori Goldberg. He's a political commentator along with Jayan Das Gupta. He's a former ambassador and representative of India at WTO. So first up, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. Mr. Goldberg, over to you. What are the chances that, United States will agree to some of these terms, and will peace finally prevail?
I don't know if peace will finally prevail, but I have little doubt that the United States will find itself agreeing to these terms, even if it takes a few more days to find the required language in which to couch these, in which to camouflage the very clear message, and that is that Iran won and the United States and Israel have lost. I don't think the United States wants to continue this anymore. Despite having lost, I don't think the United States has anything else to fight for unless it mounts a ground invasion, which I really don't think will happen. So all in all, I see an agreement as the only way out for Trump, not for Israel. There's a difference here, but for Trump. And because that is the case, I have very little doubt that the United States will not agree to these terms, and we will see a resumption of hostilities.
Right. So there is something that has come in right now, and Washington has called out, White House has in fact calls for a reported Iran MOU a complete fabrication. White House says that MOU reported on and by Iranian media as a fabrication. So that itself, speaks a lot about, what Iranian media is reporting. Mr. Goldberg, what do you have to say on this?
I think it speaks a lot. I think it's very typical of what has been going on between the United States and Iran over the past nearly 3 months. I think the United States says a lot of things. I think Iran says a lot of things. We've seen, for example, all of Trump's deadlines completely fade away and not met, even though he claimed that the gates of hell will open and so on and so forth. I don't know if there really is an MOU, but at this point, I think it's safer to trust the Iranians, even if with a grain of salt, than it is to trust the Trump White House. I don't know, again, if there's a memorandum in existence, but I have no doubt that this is the direction where the talks are headed, because really, put quite simply, the U.S. has nothing else to fight for unless it mounts a ground invasion.
So it's come back to who said what, and as Dr. Goldberg said, Jayan Das Gupta, that it's safer to trust Iran than to trust Trump at this point in time. Your reaction to what Iranian media stated earlier on, lifting of the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, removing all the troops around, and the question that we are asking is, what is going on right now, and are we any closer to peace?
Posturing and kite flying going on, and both sides have indulged in making bombastic claims about sending the other country to hell, and also that there would be a graveyard on the shores of Iran in a ground invasion. So I think separating the wheat from the chaff, as Dr. Goldberg mentioned, there is hardly anything that the U.S. can now still fight for. And it has, in the last reported conversation that President Trump had with Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, the Israelis want this war to continue, and they want the Americans to come down even more heavily on Iran. And they are continuing with their attacks south of the Litani River in Lebanon. But that, I think, will have to stop if the U.S. withdraws its support to Israel. So, as Dr. Goldberg mentioned, I am in full agreement with him, there is no question of a ground invasion being mounted by the U.S. So it is a question of a face-saving exit or off-ramp for President Trump and the US because the midterm elections are just 5 months or slightly over that away.
Right.
And the US popularity ratings in the US for the president are constantly falling. And
Right.
there is no appetite left for continuing with this state of tension and conflict with Iran.
Right,
So I
right.
think
Staying with you, Ambassador Dasgupta. Yes. Yes, yes.
just the other day, I think yesterday, Senator Mark Warner has put out a tweet criticizing President Trump heavily and saying he is incidentally, I think, the vice chairman of the Senate Intel Committee. And he said that President Trump has been constantly, being economical with the truth, if I may put it that way, in terms of its intentions, in terms of what it intends to do with regard to Iran. So the pressure is mounting. The world economy is,
Mounting.
I think, staggering from the high oil prices.
Right.
And there are these alarm bells going.
Absolutely. And as soon as, the
world.
Iranian media report came in, of course, we saw like the drop in oil prices immediately. And absolutely, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has brought in, the world to its knees, so to speak, given the kind of energy situation that many countries are going around in the world. But one important thing is that, amongst what was reported by the Iranian media was that the maritime movement would be managed by Iran in cooperation with Oman. And of course, military vessels are currently excluded from the agreement is what is stated also, by Iranian media. Tell us more about this and tell us about Oman's role in this entire, peace conversation and its relation with the Western allies also.
Is that question directed to me?
Yes, Mr. Dasgupta.
Okay. Oman has played a very important role in mediating between the US and Afghanistan, for instance, the US and Iran. And while talks were still going on, mediated by Oman, unfortunately, this attack by the US took place on Iran. And that, I think, came as a rude shock to Iran. So Oman, I think, is continuing to mediate in a very effective way. And Qatar is also apparently in on this mediation job, along with Pakistan in a small way. The Iranians, I don't think, have much trust in Pakistan, but they seem to be trusting the Omanis for some reason, maybe, the last 10 years, comments of Iran vis-a-vis Iran, etc. So I think this issue of whether Iran hands over its enriched uranium to whether it does it to US or Russia or somebody else, that is a long, long distance away.
Right. Yes.
Iranians, yes. Whether the Iranians concede that they will never have nuclear weapons, I think that is also not on the table at the moment. It
Correct.
is just about restoring the traffic in Hormuz, removing
yes,
the
and that was a major stickling point for United States, in fact, for the past many weeks, of course. But coming to you, Dr. Goldberg, now, if the agreement is finalized or reached within 60 days, and I'm stating what Iranian media stated, it could be reportedly be approved as a binding UN Security Council. My fairly simple question to you, is this 60-day window realistic for a UN resolution?
Oh, of course. I mean, again, you need to remember, this isn't a discussion about specific military goals that need to be achieved or any other kind of technical detail, even with regard to the nuclear program, which, by the way, I mean, Iran in 2015 had already decided that it would rather not have a nuclear weapon and be accepted into the world. So that's never off the table for the Iranians as well. This is a political discussion. Exactly as the ambassador said, This is about face saving. This is about an off ramp. This is about ending this because, except for the clearly stated Israeli interest in a forever war, the United States has absolutely no reason to continue this war with Iran. And not only is Oman playing a part in mediating this, the rest of the regional powerhouses are considering regional security arrangements that may very well include Iran, but will not include Israel. President Trump's attempts to try and persuade them to sign the Abraham Accords have been stonewalled. And to put it briefly, this is entirely political. So 60 days are enough. 6 days are enough. I would say that if everybody was in the right frame of mind, 2 days would be enough as well, because the facts on the ground are very clear.
The US administration handle the domestic political backlash, or was the current statement that just came in from the White House, is it sort of a face saver over here?
Of course, I mean that's Trump. Trump does not want to look as a person who backs away from a fight, does not want to appear weak as though he's been threatened. It's not just Trump, it's his Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. It's his advisors, including Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who's been a chief warmonger. They don't want to look as if they've had defeat handed to them. They want to appear insistent, they want to appear alert. But when you have even somebody like John Bolton, former national security advisor to Trump, who is perhaps the main supporter of an American commitment to regime change in Iran, say that he's afraid that the United States will wake up once this is over to a horrendous strategic defeat. If he says something like that, that means that the United States goose is cooked. And now it's just a matter of finding the right phrases, the right diplomatic formula, whatever it takes to end this. This is not a matter of achieving something that is yet to be achieved.
Final word from you, Jan Das Gupta. What will and what role are some of the international mediators playing apart from Oman? Interestingly, just a few days ago, Trump and Putin both paid a visit to Xi Jinping in China. So China and Russia's role in taking these peace talks over and across the finish line, or will they play a role in blocking this UN resolution? What are your thoughts on this?
The Russians and the Chinese would back the Iranians to the hilt because they have got a victory of sorts without taking part in the war. And they would also support the Security Council resolution as long as they get the nod from the Iranians. So they are, the Chinese economy is suffering because of the Hormuz conflict. The Russians have also suffered because of this. And both sides stand to gain. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Russians strike a side deal with the US about lifting of the sanctions, at least partially, in order to have this resolution go through in the Security Council. That would be, something which the Russians perhaps try for. So I think if the US wants to bring it to the Security Council and have it passed, to give it some sort of a legitimacy after having launched an illegitimate war, I think this would be the way out. And it would have to buy off both China and Russia. The Russians may extract the price. So would the Chinese, of course. But they would not go against Iran in any case. They would support him.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Goldberg and Jan Das Gupta, for joining us tonight on India Tonight. Very interesting inputs and insights from both of you. Thanks again.